Hey George, we've got a really cool interview on today, man. I'm a really big fan of bringing things to awareness, and today's cool show, I've really been very strategic on bringing on someone who's very open, very dynamic, a radio host, a TV personality, someone with, I guess, is always in the limelight, and for that very reason is always subject to scrutiny, always subject to ridicule, and yeah, always in the limelight. And the cool thing about this person is that they're very open, very real, very honest about anxiety and depression and mental health. And that's what we're gonna talk about on today's show. Let's stay tuned. So Life Lessons TV, look, it's going to be sort of, I think, a little bit edgy. I think it's going to be a little bit off the cuff. I'm letting you know now that once I get excited about a topic, I might swear a little bit. I might let a couple of curses go. So it's one of those things where I think I just want things to be kind of real. Hey guys, Adrian here for Life Lesson TV, episode 8. Welcome back. Today I have a special guest with me, Bianca Dye. Welcome.
Hello. 8 is good because 8's a really lucky number.
I know.
I'm feeling good about that. In Chinese, isn't it? In Chinese, 8's like...
Absolutely.
And I'm superstitious, so that's good.
I love it.
It's good, it's good.
And it's a Friday afternoon. It's a casual, relaxed afternoon.
Having a little
wine in hand.
Cheeky wine at Diggy's. How you going? Yep.
And it's so great to have you here because we're relaxing, we're having fun, but we're talking about, I guess, not such a fun topic.
Yep.
And highlighting around mental health, which is really why I wanted you on the show, being an ambassador for mental health. So for those who've been, I guess, living under a rock and don't know who you are.
Enjoy that rock.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself, about your story and your background?
Oh God, where do I start? Okay, my name's Bianca Dye. I've just clocked up 20 years in radio. I do TV. You might have seen me on Thank God You're Here or The Today Show, The Weekend Grill. Sometimes I'm the funny, silly one. Sometimes I'm talking serious topics. I was part of the R98 Breakfast Show for the last 7 years, which was great.
Course,
and that came to an end, which was awesome because I needed a new chapter in my life. And it's funny because everything that's ended in my life has gone in 7-year things. Like I didn't even...
Another lucky number there.
I know, another lucky number, but I didn't realise that. But my last job I was at for 7 years. I think I just get to a point where at 7 years I go, time to spread my wings. I've got to get out of here. I'm going to go crazy. So, so mental health, I've kind of become almost an unwilling ambassador, but now a willing ambassador. At first it was hard for me to talk about it because people use... If you have some sort of a mental health issue or a mental ill health, like I have an anxiety disorder, but sometimes people will use it against you. Like I've been in meetings with people who'd go, oh, well, you have anxiety, and and I'm like, well, hold on, so do you.
Sure. And
that's got nothing to do with my work and what I can do and how I perform. If anything, my anxiety actually makes me a high performer, and it's actually documented that people with very high IQs suffer from very bad anxiety. So I'm going to run with that. I'm going to run with that.
Yeah,
the smarter you are, the worse your anxiety.
Yeah, right.
But I'm really glad. I was a bit nervous actually because someone said to me once, "Oh, well, you don't want to become known as the person that's just about mental health." And I'm like, "Well, no, that's not really a smart thing to say because the reality is if I look at myself as a pizza, my mental health is one slice of my pizza. There's also the fact that I'm a writer, I'm a broadcaster, I'm a content creator. I do lots of stuff on my social media platforms, and I started my own social media page on Instagram called @AnxietyFree.
Yeah.
And I started it just over a year and a half ago, and really I didn't know if I'd get any followers. Like I didn't start it to get followers.
Sure.
Unlike my own page, which I chase followers all the time because I am a brand. The brand is Bianca Dye.
Of course.
I get booked.
But it's not the purpose of that page.
No, it's not
more
the purpose.
More of an awareness.
But ironically, exactly. And ironically, my anxiety-free page has overtaken my page.
Yeah.
And it's got like it's got 13,000 followers. I don't know, by the time this goes to air, maybe more, I don't know. But I'm excited by that because that's something I'm passionate about, and it's not the page isn't about me. Occasionally I put myself up there if I'm doing something to do with anxiety,
of course,
but I don't just put up a selfie or me and my bathers or something.
Yes,
That'd scare the shit out of everybody anyway. But I put up stuff that, what I love about the fact the page, what I love about it is that it's grown organically, and it's grown because of I'm putting up things that I'm passionate about when it comes to mental health. And so what I love and what's cool, and I guess is like a little ego boost, is that whatever I'm doing is obviously resonating with other people with mental health issues. Because there are some days when you go, fuck this shit. And there are other days when you go, no, you know what? I want to meditate. I need to get zen. I need to walk. I need to exercise. So there are days when you take your mental health seriously. And then there are days when you wake up and go, oh man, I was awake all night with insomnia, which is a side effect of anxiety sometimes. And I am a zombie, and I want to stab grandmas with knitting needles in their eyeballs. You know what I mean? So, and
not
I think,
really, but
not
yeah,
really,
I know
no. But so I think, what I love about my page is that there are days when it's serious, there are days when it's not serious, there are days when I tell everyone, go away, I hate you, and there are days when I'm very loving, and it's a really nice little community. And I love how it's grown, and so I'm hoping I can make that bigger. I'm hoping maybe I'll make a website out of it. I don't know.
The thing I love about it is that I guess what you're really doing, what's attracted me to that page and to this scenario, is that you're just being human about it. I think what a lot of people do is obviously hide behind mental health in a sense that they won't come forward about it. Some people, I guess, in my opinion, they use that as a reason for not doing things, where if you've rightly said, it doesn't have to be something that holds you down. You don't pigeonhole yourself to saying, look, I can't actually do anything now because of this mental health issue or this anxiety. And I guess, you know, what's, like for me personally, I can relate to the anxiety side. I've had certain moments in my life where I've certainly had moments of depression.
I think everyone has though.
Yeah, that's right. But I want to
Even small
discern the
moments.
difference between having a bad day and having chronic depression. So I haven't experienced chronic depression, but certainly anxiety. Like I've had heart palpitations where I thought I was going to fucking die, and it just
when you saw me when you walked in.
That's right.
I was
Definitely.
like, oh, you'll be
it's more of
alright.
a
You'll be
heart
alright.
flutter than anything. So, the heart palpitations, that to me was a scary moment, because I can remember being like lying in bed and then having a panic attack about the fact that I knew as soon as I was going to go to bed and close my eyes, then my mind would race. And it kind of was like having a panic attack about having a panic attack. And then I could feel that my heart on top of my chest.
It's horrible.
And I just had this moment of like, you know what? I'm going crazy. This is what it's like to lose your marbles.
And you're not.
And it's all these thoughts racing, and it was seriously the shittest time of my life.
It's hard, and you know what? Just you talking about it now is awesome, and that is exactly why I do what I do. And you know, I'm starting to feel like a bit of a broken record, because it's all about creating awareness, mental health awareness, and I'm starting to feel like it's a bit of a cliche now, but it's true. The more people talk about it, the fact that we're talking about it now, the fact that this goes out online, people will people will watch that and go, oh, I get those. I get a panic attack, and that's okay. It's okay to get panic attacks. I remember my first one. I thought I was dying, and I had one about 6 weeks ago on the toilet, and I had to call my boyfriend, and he was like, "Are you being a drama queen, or you're actually having a panic attack?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm going to be okay." But you think you're dying, your heart races. It's the body's way. If you kind of Google it and you study it, which I sort of have, it's all about the fight or flight response.
Sure.
Our bodies are tuned into thinking that when we get that panic, it's because there's a saber-toothed tiger chasing us, and that panic attack is actually what would make you bolt and you would run from the saber-toothed tiger. But we're not. We're panicking because we're thinking, oh shit, I haven't got that prop to that client yet, or I didn't go to my kid's thing last night, and so we're panicking about things that do not deserve that level of panic.
Sure.
But because our bodies are still caveman bodies, and the amygdala and the way our brains function have not caught up with the fact that everything's a lot less stressful now, let's be honest, unless we're living in third world countries, and it's a different story. But our lives now are not stressful. Our lives now are like, oh, which Chardonnay should I have? It's a big stress. So our body goes, right, fight or flight, and that's the panic attack. And they're really normal and they're really common. And the more we talk about it, especially for kids, I get a lot of kids following me, not literally on the street, but online. And they love the fact that I'm open about it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I've worked with people for many years who, I don't get anxiety, I don't get that. But then they show behaviour that is classic anxious behaviour.
Of course.
But they refuse to accept it because they go, I don't want to be classified as this anxious person or depressed person. And it's like, some of the most brilliant minds and some of the most happiest, most successful, amazing people I know suffer from mild to bad depression, anxiety, panic attacks. It comes with being a human being.
Correct.
And you know what? If you're lucky enough to not have it, fucking great.
Yeah.
Good on you. And that's awesome. And I do have girlfriends who don't suffer from anything, and they look at me and they go, I hope your anxiety's all right today. And I'm like, well, yeah. But
they don't understand it.
They don't get it. And I don't try and explain it. I just think, I wish I was you sometimes, and good luck to you. But I'm coping with it now. I don't take medication for it anymore. I was on medication for a couple of years, but that sent me gaga, like really. And I put on weight, and I was like, oh, this is sending me crazy. So I was on Effexor and those kind of antidepressants, SSRIs or whatever you call them, serotonin uptake rehabilitators or whatever. And look, they do work, and I'm a massive advocate for medication. And I get a lot of people emailing me going, should I take medication, should I not? I can tell you situations where medication has saved people's lives.
Of course.
Because say they were going through a divorce. They found out their husband was having an affair with their best friend. They're depressed. You're meant to be depressed.
Yep.
You are meant to feel like shit when that happens to you.
Of course.
So, and then this will happen. Their kids get sick. They lose their job. They're depressed because they're human. So they take the medication. I don't think it's something that you should be on long term unless you do have a chemical imbalance. My mum is on Lexapro. She has a chemical imbalance. She'll be on that for the rest of her life.
Gotcha.
Thank God. Otherwise I would strangle her because she's crazy when she's not on that. But for people, you know, there's nothing to be ashamed of, is what I'm trying to get across about taking medication. I was on it for a while. It helped me get through a certain period. I weaned myself off. So nowadays I deal with my anxiety by, well, there's lots of ways. I try and meditate as much as I can. I mean, I know, the funny thing is I know that if I meditated every day, twice a day like I'm supposed to, I would be a Zen master.
Yeah.
But I don't. And the ridiculous thing is, now that I'm working freelance, I've got time. But we find time to do the most ridiculous things, but the things that we know that are going to make us feel better mentally, for some reason they get pushed as not a priority. So I'm trying to get on top of that. But I meditate a few times a week. I'm exercising a lot more now. I find getting on the treadmill, I never used to be a treadmill person, but when the weather was really bad recently and I couldn't walk, I found getting on the treadmill and walking uphill for like 50, 60 minutes, and I listened to cognitive behavioural therapy audio in my
Yeah.
I'm such a nana.
That's all right. For those who don't know what it is, though.
Cognitive behavioural therapy. Well, that's the therapy that is best suggested for people that have mental health issues. They say that to go back and look at your childhood. Most shit that we deal with comes from stuff that happened in our childhood. Let's be honest. So I've downloaded a really cool book on that. So I'm fascinated by the brain and the fact that we can change the synapses in our brain by just repeating different things. Like, you know, I was told as a child from some parts of my family, you're never going to make it, you're nothing, you're this, you're like put down a lot. Then from other side of my family, I was told you're special, you're awesome, you're going to make a difference in this world. And that's literally how I live my life. Like some days I'm really confident and like I am going to be the next Oprah, and then other days I'm like, I'm such a loser, I'm too fat for television, I'm a dickhead, everyone hates me. And literally each day something wins. So I know now that when I'm listening to this cognitive behavioural therapy, and it's helping me to change the way I think. So it's helping me to put down a new story in my brain to say, Bianca, you're awesome, you're positive, you're great, you can do this. And I know it sounds a bit but it works. It works,
does.
but you got to keep doing it.
And people discount it, like the things that you just mentioned about exercising, about meditating, about learning, about, I guess, dumbing down, for want of a better word, just all the busyness that's going on in your life and in your mind anyway. Because like I said, people stress over so many things and so much is happening all the time. Yeah. So we live in a very anxiety conducive world, like it kind of is already just, full on. So I think if people really say to themselves, well, hey, look, I shouldn't be pigeonholed with this. It shouldn't really stop me from doing anything, but I can manage it. Yeah. I can manage that yes, it's a part of the brain that's fight or flight. There's a way to get around it, and also just relaxing and just sort of detoxing, I guess, from social media, from the TV, and, you know, from other ways of escapism, I guess, you know. That's all. That can only be positive to people. So, and they can only have a positive impact. And they're very minor steps, I think, towards, I guess, trying to be more anxiety free. Because I think what the message I'm getting from you is that it's a part of life.
We can't escape it unless you go and live in Byron Bay.
It's a part of your brain. You know, it's the way that we've been built from the dawn of time. So, you know, it's kind of like, it's always going to be there. So let's just manage, there's going to be highs and lows. Let's just manage those highs and lows. So it's less of this and more this.
Well, that's why I've been trying to do more meditation, because the people that I know that meditate and do yoga and run and eat clean and are vegan and all that, they live this life where, you know, it's not so many highs and not so many lows. And I'm a very, you know, I've got adult ADHD, so I'm very, there's highs and I love it, and I'm, you know, I love the high of what I do, and live television and emceeing a function and getting on stage and singing and writing and my life, every day it can change. I can get a phone call saying, like 2 days ago, I got a phone call from a current affair going, can you come on and do some, just talk to us about this topic. So I'm like, right, exciting, live television, boom. And people say to me, oh God, I could never live your life. And I'm like, well, I could never live yours. I feed off that. I feed off that energy. You know, like live radio, breakfast radio is intense. It's every 3 minutes, you got to come up with something, you got to talk. We don't pre-record our show, because that's not, pre-recording is not how you do breakfast radio. So you've got to be live and you've got to be there in the moment, and there's that adrenaline, but there's a payoff for that, because you've got to come down from that adrenaline. So I've lived my whole life chasing those adrenaline rushes, and then I come crashing down. That's when I get anxious and depressed. So I'm like, all right, how can I find a way to balance that? And like, I'm 42, it's taken me a while. Like, you know, I've lived this crazy life. And now, you know, I'm finding that it's taken me this long to firstly accept that I get that. And then secondly, typical of my phone to be, see, this is why I'm anxious. My phone's ringing in the middle of an interview. All right, I'll turn that off. Anyway, go away. Yes, it's off now. So I'm calm.
All right. So look, can you would you mind sharing with me sort of a dark moment, I guess? I mean, you know,
there's heaps.
I know there's obviously heaps, but all right, maybe one that's more sort of stuck with you, and I guess, you know, what that sort of meant for you. Can you sort of, just sort of share with me, I guess, that moment in time and how it felt and what you were going through, and how you come out of it?
Look, I have lots of dark moments, and I'm really pretty open with them. Probably too open. I think my social media, you know, people say, why do you share all that? But I also get a lot of people saying, I love that you share, because I have a very blessed life, and I do lots of exciting, fun things, and I go to free concerts, and I travel the world, and I do some really cool things because of my job. And I really like to show that there is a different side of that, that it's not always fun stuff. It's not always going to, you know, LA with Richard Branson. That was a long time ago, but you know what I mean? There's also dark sides of it. So I share that. That makes a lot of people feel uncomfortable, because they're uncomfortable with themselves. And so when you're uncomfortable in your own skin and someone's holding up a mirror, you go, oh, look at you. You're so over the top, you share too much, less is more. And it's like, well, no, that actually says more about you as a person than me. Because I'm sharing and I'm open, and this is, you know, okay, here's a good example. When I first broke up with my partner, broken up a couple of times now, got back together, I had a really dark day. I was feeling really down. He had decided to go on a weekend trip away with some friends, and I was really down that he'd gone away. But he needed to get away, and he needed to get some space. And I felt terrible, so I went and got a tattoo that said, honour thyself. And it was a terrible tattoo. And I drank a bottle of wine, I was drunk, I went and got a tattoo. I was dark, down, crying, got this tattoo, which I'm now trying to get rid of, and it's nearly gone. Because now I look at it and it reminds me of a weekend where I was really down, you know, and I didn't answer the phone, I didn't want to talk to anybody. And, you know, I'm quite often the one that cheers everyone else up, and I am good at doing that, because I like being the clown, and I like making people laugh. That's like my biggest joy. If I can make people laugh, when I get on stage and a room full of people laugh at something I've said, that is like my high. You know, like I'm on a high. So I love doing that for other people, but when people try and do that for me, and when you're in that dark zone, and many people who feel this way would understand, you don't want to be, I didn't want to be cheered up. I was like, no, I want to be dark. Yeah. And I just got the tattoo and stayed home, didn't answer my phone for a few days, drank a lot, put up stupid things on Facebook at 11 o'clock at night, then had to delete them the next day because I realised I was, you know, saying stupid shit. And it was dark and horrible, and you know, people were like, are you okay? And it wasn't until people said, are you okay, that I went, oh, do I seem not okay? I'm actually okay. I'm just kind of going through a dark thing, and because I'm a public figure, I'm doing it publicly.
Sure.
Not quite as bad as Miley Cyrus or Britney Spears, but I'm doing it publicly, you know? And because I live my life publicly, if I'm having a shit day, I like to say I'm having a shit day. Yeah. I don't want to be one of these people on Instagram where my whole life is perfect and fluffy and smiles and fake.
It's not real.
It's not real. But I know so many people that I follow on Instagram, or that I look at their page, I don't follow them, and I know their life is shit. I know they're miserable. I know their relationship is going through a tough time. But everything on their page,
it's a falsification.
It's bullshit. Yeah, and I just go, come on, let's be real. So I don't.
So what was going through your mind at that point, though? Like, was that the time that you kind of said, "Hey, this is this is a problem"?
Yeah, I did. I kind of thought, oh, I definitely have some issues. I need to talk to someone, and I have been seeing someone. I've sort of seen people on and off in my life, but the person I'm seeing at the moment is fabulous. Yep. She's great. I've just started seeing someone again, and it's great. It's nice to be able to talk to someone and just see someone that's really non-judgmental, doesn't sort of sit there and go, you're a bit of a nut job. Like, just, we laugh and we talk, and she, you know, I'll say to her, look, this just happened with a girlfriend. I just had a fallout with a girlfriend, and I did this. Did I do the right thing, or did I do the wrong thing? Because I quite often struggle with, I want to be a good person. Sometimes my childhood, little Bianca, comes through and acts like a spoilt shit. Am I letting her come through, or is this 42-year-old mature Bianca just not taking shit from someone anymore? Do you know what I mean? Like, or is this the spoilt brat? And I quite often grapple with these two people, as we all do, because our inner child is within all of us. And it's nice to sit there with a therapist who'll go, no, that's 42-year-old Bianca putting up boundaries, going, I don't want to be treated that way. But she's also the first to go, no, that's 7-year-old Bianca being a spoilt brat. We need to deal with that.
And I think what I like about that is that in life, look, it's hard to read the label from the inside of the bottle. And I think, I'm not sure.
That's so true. I love that.
You've probably got the same opinion as I feel you do, that I think people underestimate the power of therapy, because you die the death of 1,000 cuts in your own mind.
Yes.
And you're your own worst enemy.
Yeah.
And that's what I found. Like in my experience, if I didn't talk it out, or didn't get to a point where I needed to, you know, get this off my chest, and much like yourself, it was a public thing. You know, I wrote a blog about it saying, hey, look, I just want to let you know that this is what I was going through. Yeah. But the same response was encouraging. It was like, thanks for going through that trouble, because it made me aware of what I was going through.
Yep.
The private message is saying, thanks for bringing this to my attention. You just made me feel normal.
Yep.
And I think that's what this whole world is starting to get caught up in, is this false impression that everyone's got this freaking fantastic life, and we're all killing it, but it's really not.
We're not killing it.
You know, I had a conversation earlier today. I ran a seminar yesterday. It was a great day, high on life, 7 hours. Just, you know, the adrenaline for me is much like you. When you get the laugh, when you're in front of a crowd, it's fantastic. But you know what? I got brought back down to earth because I've got 3 fucking kids at home, and my wife rang me and said, listen, hey, have you finished? Because look, these guys have been little shits. You need to get home.
You need to come home.
So it's like, you know who I am. I'm like,
reality check.
You know, people love me, right? And like, but all of a sudden, that just comes straight down. And I think people need to realise that we're not all immune to it. You know,
we're not
it can affect anyone.
We're not superheroes, and I think the more people that can talk about it, the better. And there is a movement now, especially with social media. There's a movement now where we're not really putting up with these fake accounts where girls are putting up pictures where everything's perfect. I respect women and men who put up things saying, oh, today wasn't such a great day, da-da-da. Great, good. Sure. And then people argue, oh, but why do people want to know the negative stuff? I don't want to share the negative. No, yeah, you do. It's your responsibility to share the negative. Because, I feel it is for me in the public eye. I don't want to put up a facade. I probably have 5 days a week where my life is awesome, and then I have 2 days a week where I'm like, I'm struggling. People aren't returning my calls. The radio station I want to work at hasn't emailed me back, whatever. And I don't want to pretend that everything's great, because I'm a lot more relatable when I am honest, and I think, I think I've gotten in trouble for my honesty. I've lost friends, I've lost jobs, I've lost all sorts of stuff because I'm way too honest.
Sure. But you're true to yourself.
But I'm true to myself, and I don't make any apologies. I don't want to ever hurt anybody. You know what I mean? Like sometimes my honesty has hurt people's feelings, and I'm like, okay, that's when I need to pull my head in, and that's when I go, oh, all right, sorry I said you're a dickhead. I still think you're a dickhead, but I apologise. Do you know what I mean? I'm still not a fan, but I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, sorry.
I know.
And that's, that's me, and whatever, that's life. You get to a point where you think, I've got the people that I love, I've got my tribe that love me no matter what, and it's hard in radio. I mean, I've moved around for 20 years of radio, and I have some of my best friends, solid sisters, are in Melbourne, Gold Coast, Brisbane, Sydney. It took me a while to meet people in Wollongong. And it also took me a while to trust people, because a lot of people just want to know you because they go, oh, you're Bianca Dye from the radio.
Sure.
And I really had to get the sifter out and go, who's full of shit here and who actually likes me? Who wants me to plug their product? And a lot of relationships.
And who likes you for you?
Who likes me for me? And a lot of relationships are transactional, and I get that. Get my hair done at this salon, that's a transaction, and that's fine. But I'm still a sensitive little girl at heart, and so I'd get upset when I think, oh.
But you know what, you wouldn't be alone in that, because I think what you've just explained to me is, the listeners out there probably wouldn't have the life that you lead, in terms of, they're not all radio hosts, they're not all ambassadors for this and that, or they don't have that kind of lifestyle, but they certainly have those toxic people in their life.
Yeah.
Your mum, your dad, your brothers, relatives, they're often almost the worst,
Yeah, family can be the worst.
Because you can't choose them, So but they have that choice of saying, hey, listen, I've got to stand up for myself. I don't have to accept that this is right, and also have the self-awareness.
Yeah.
I think that the real underlying factor is just the self-awareness to say, you know what, I did overstep the mark there. It's a part of my personality that actually did hurt someone, and I can call myself on that.
Yeah. Okay,
so where can, if people are listening out there and they need to reach out, obviously you got your anxiety-free page. What do you recommend, or what would you say to someone who says, hey, listen, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling anxiety, I'm having heart palpitations, I'm actually really down right now, I've been down for a number of days, weeks, months. What would you say?
Okay, I get a few people contacting me directly on Anxiety Free, and I kind of panic a bit at that, to be honest, only because I'm not a qualified therapist, and I'm not qualified to give advice. So when I give advice, I say, listen, this is what worked for me. Sorry, microphone. This is what worked for me. Meditation, cognitive behavioural therapy, seeing a therapist, exercise. Like quite often, a guy will say, oh, I'm having panic attacks. And I'm like, okay, well, have you spoken to your wife or girlfriend about it? You've got to talk to them about it. Have you, it's actually cool to go and see someone. Like if you meet a guy and they admit that they're having therapy, that's sexy. Do you know what I mean? That's cool. I love a guy that's got the balls. These tough men that, you got to be tough, and it's like, nah, that's not cool anymore. Being that tough isn't cool anymore. Because we see through it and we know. I can spot a bullshit artist a mile away. Especially I can spot someone who suffers anxiety a mile away, and I don't want to call them on it and go, I can tell you're struggling. So you sort of, you got to be gentle. You've got to be gentle with people. I tend to be a bit rough because I was brought up that way. I was brought up by my dad. I was a tomboy, so I'm a bit rough. And I know I need to kind of be a bit more gentle. So I think the best advice is to, if you're really struggling, there's Lifeline. They're amazing. Headspace is incredible. If you're a parent and you're worried about your teenagers, Headspace is incredible because it deals with teens, but it deals with stuff realistically. Cool. It's like, are you trying to, did you get offered LSD at a party on the weekend? This is what you do. Because the reality is, whether parents like it or not, sex and drugs are a part of being a teenager. Whether they're doing it or not, they're being exposed to it, they're at parties, it's life. So as a parent, to dig your head in the sand and pretend that it's not happening, trust me, your kids are having sex and doing drugs. Well, maybe not, but you know what I mean. They're looking at it, they're sussing it out.
It's a part of life.
It's a part of life.
And maybe not now, but eventually, they're going to be accosted with something like that.
Yes, and I was lucky that it was thrown at my face really young, and I was lucky enough to have parents that kind of taught me well, and you know, I didn't experiment till later. Thank God. God knows what I would have been like if I had. But my advice is, as a parent, is to sit down with your kids and try and have that conversation, a casual one. How you going? What's going on? If your kids are locking themselves in their room a lot, or they're moody, maybe they're getting bullied at school. Bullying is huge. Cyberbullying is huge, and it's terrible. And kids are literally keyboard warriors, calling each other horrible names.
Sure.
Under anonymous, it's just,
and relentless.
I don't know. I honestly don't know how they do it. If they had social media when I was a teenager, I'd be a mess. You know, like I'm not strong enough for that. Like I get 20 people on Facebook saying how awesome I am, and I get one person saying you're an idiot, and I'm like, why did they like me?
And a child, really, a child,
they don't know how to handle it.
They're not equipped. You know, the ability to handle it.
Headspace is awesome. I would say talk to someone. I would say. If you want to email me, biancadye@gmail.com, I can give you the names of a few therapists locally around the Illawarra that are great. There's also mental health plans that you can get from your doctor. So you can get like half price mental health, because it's quite expensive. But there's so many things. You know what's amazing? Charity. Go and donate your time to Shaz from Need a Fee. You know,
absolutely.
Go and do, like I find when I donate my time to charity stuff like Green Acres and all that, I don't get anxious or depressed when I'm helping other people. It's only when I'm focused on my own shit that I get anxious. You know, when you focus outwards and you're helping other people, I find it lifts a lot of that, because you're not so incestuously looking at yourself. Do you know what I mean? You're taking it away from yourself. So, I would say talk to someone, talk to your parents, talk to your boyfriend, talk to your girlfriend. It's hard. I really feel for people who might be struggling and they can't talk to their own partner about it, you know. But my partner doesn't really get it as badly as me, but he gets it. Like, at least I say to him, I'm not having a good day, I'm having an anxious day. He doesn't get it, like he doesn't get anxious like me, but he kind of goes, okay, so you're going to act like a nutter today. And I'm like, I'm just warning you, it's kind of hormones, anxiety.
It's everything.
Your day's going to be...
It's a cocktail.
I'm like... with my cauldron, my witch's cauldron. Poor bastard.
Awesome.
Anyway,
All right, Bianca, thanks so much for coming on the show. Look, it's been an absolute wild ride talking to you.
We could talk all day.
We could. And the thing is that it's such a critical topic, and I guess we can sit here and talk, you know, openly about it, and relaxed and flippantly at times, and make a joke out of it. But you know what? I think people take themselves too fucking serious sometimes, a lot of the time.
Yes, they do.
And if you recognise that it's a problem, I like the fact that you said, hey, here's where you can get help. But hey, once you start doing things for others, why don't you meditate? Why don't you have some exercise? Make time to be quiet. Be open with your loved ones, because truly they care about you and they want to know that you're okay. So thanks so much for bringing this to awareness around it, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, there you go, episode 8. See you on the next episode. So Life Lessons TV, look, it's going to be sort of, I think, a little bit edgy. I think it's going to be a little bit off the cuff. I'm letting you know now that once I get excited about a topic, I might swear a little bit. I might let a couple of curses go. So it's one of those things where I think I just want things to be kind of real.